Hola, ¿cómo estás, el cochino? Welcome to, why is my thing crooked-o? God, that is really crooked. Still looks crooked. What's up, YouTube? Jason here with Jason Bytes Back, episode numero... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 58. That's right, 58 consecutive months of Jason Bytes Back. As always, this video is brought to you by my awesome Patreon subscribers, the $5 and $10 of which will be listed at the end of this video. Before I dive into the questions, I do want to take a second and I want to apologize for my studio essentially being my current workstation, for the hobby of which includes endless amounts of replacement parts, because my dog absolutely loves to chase RC cars. Like, she loves it. She will chase that thing until she drops. I have to stop her because she will just not stop chasing it. And usually it stops when she breaks it. So every time I take it out, I have to replace something and fix something. And I've got multiple different, it's a whole thing. I got all of this stuff laid out and I'm working on it. I just got some more parts, imagine that. So basically what I'm saying is this slop is because if I remove all of this, I will lose track of where all my parts are. By the way, last time I went out to play, yes, this is all duct tape because these bodies are flimsy. She accidentally got hurt and a little bit of blood from that. So yeah, I got to work on my next time making it a little bit safer because of the pins. So that's a whole different story because she just loves this thing and it's really fun, honestly. It's like 20 minutes, just pure bliss for me, watching her chase that thing around and just get the best exercise ever. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump right into the questions. And the first question is from Gaming and Tech about the Simply Nuck, that little miniature PC that I reviewed. He says, how much did you get for this video? Great question. Well, Gaming and Tech, I actually try to be really transparent with sponsored and overviewed videos. If I have something that is a piece of equipment provided by a company, I will state that. I will also state that has absolutely no bearing on what I'm going to say about the product. Sometimes I am just legitimately overjoyed and impressed by what a product brings to the table. That's not to say that I do not offer sponsored overviews of products. However, in the very few select videos that I did a paid overview, I stated that at the beginning, saying this was a sponsored overview of a product. So to answer your question on the Simply Nuck, I did not get paid anything except for I did get to keep the Nuck that they sent me. This is a pretty normal thing for most YouTubers to not want to be just absolute shill sellouts to something just because they got something for free. And it has caused a few things to basically I just send back. I'm just like, I can either make a video telling you that this thing absolutely sucks, or I can throw it in the trash or send it back to you. So it's happened a few times. It is what it is. And it's not so much me not wanting to say the bad things. It's me just so unexcited about it that I think it's just complete garbage and I don't feel confident making a video about it because sometimes things are just that bad. Next question is from Peter G on the Sonar on Radar. How did I live without this? He says, awesome video. I look forward to the Loki upgrade video. Yes, that is going to be a while. Some of you may or may not know that I am currently going through a divorce where she's fighting tooth and nail to take everything. So pretty much a lot of resources being thrown into that right now. I do want to upgrade Loki to an Intel chip, depending on what is out at the time when I can actually get to that point, because I really want to get into just built-in integrated graphics transcoding. It just works better overall. Like for example, that Simply Intel Nuck thing was just a beast. So I want to use that on a larger scale, on a larger server, and I want to update my server in order to include, that option. But it will take a little bit of time before I get into a financial position of which I can do that. But trust me, I'm looking forward to it too, because I changed. I went from a 3900 to my old 5960 just because it was Intel or whatever, and I moved the 3900 over to my mining rig. I don't remember why I did that, but I think it had something to do with liquid cooling because I also mounted a thing in there. But it would be really cool to have integrated graphics, not only for the Plex hardware accelerated transcoding, but also I don't have to use a spot for a GPU. Right now, the 5960 does not have integrated graphics, so I still have to use a spot for a GPU. So, you know, multiple bonuses. I look forward to it as well. Next question is from George T. He says the 12 volt output is regulated per your comment that you ran it for a day and the output remained 11.6. Maintaining a constant voltage even when the battery capacity is dwindling indicates regulation. Your load tester display showing 11.6 volts may actually be inaccurate. No offense meant, but this is not a precision device. My comments are not meant to be anything other than my thoughts. I like your videos. George, that's great feedback and you're definitely going down the right path. And I will add to your argument and say, that was literally the first video and the first time I've ever used a tool like that. I will counter that with, because I was so paranoid that I would screw up the testing, use it wrong, not get the right results, maybe say the wrong thing, I went and tested all of the other batteries that I have in my arsenal to see which ones were up above 13 volts, usually around 13.6, 13.7, and which ones maintain that voltage throughout the spectrum of their battery capacity. And I found that there were the ones that actually were regulated that were above 13 volts. The thing about a 12 volt regulated output on a little mobile battery like that is that a lot of 12 volt appliances that you might plug into a car expect at least 12 volts. They don't expect 11.6, and they might not work with 11.6, but they expect at least 12 volts. So 13, 13.6, that's good. It can overvolt a little bit. But some devices are sensitive enough that if you undervolt it, it will just not work properly. But you're right, the device I bought off Amazon is probably not a highly precise device, but I replicated that exact same test to verify that the other ones that actually are technically regulated had better results. Also, side note, I actually got in a hold of Pecron about that and they contacted me, whatever, and they said it is regulated, and I said, well, here's my test results, and I made a video comparing two different regulated batteries next to theirs, and I was like, here's what it should look like, and here's what yours look like. And the response was, I got a prototype, and the production models would actually be above 13 volts. So that's all I got to say about that. Next question is from Kratos. He says, does the VPN have to be P2P, and if so, why? Now, this is on a video where I was setting up the NordVPN service on the Deluge VPN Docker container on my Unraid. I was super excited about that. I discovered some R's on Unraid that allows you to manage your media library automatically in a completely, totally legal way, and absolutely no gray area here whatsoever. So I'm just gonna move on from that statement. In the VPN setup, NordVPN, the reason why I think that when I originally tried setting this up, and I actually was gonna make a series of videos about Unraid and VPN, stuff like that, I had issues with the torrents seeding very fast, if at all. And I think it was because it didn't have the P2Peer network selected from the server dropdown list. So I configured it possibly with the wrong VPN servers. And when I did the configuration with the NordVPN and the P2P servers, I was able to successfully not only download, but also upload torrents. And realistically, when it comes down to it, you want to seed torrents. I know some people are going to tell me this is a 20-year-old platform and you shouldn't do it. I get that, whatever. It's a video. Use whatever you want to use. But if I download the latest release of Ubuntu and I really want to get that as fast as possible, the only way I'm going to do that is because other people are Ubuntu fans and they're like, I'm going to download this, I'm going to share it, and I'm going to be kind. So if you're only leeching and you're not seeding, it just kind of sucks. Also, in my experience, depending on what you're downloading, you could run into issues where if you are not seeding and you can't get the right communication, then you won't have as fast as speeds in downloading, if any connection at all. So that's why I recommended the P2P server, because that's what I used and it worked. And that's what got me all excited about getting everything set up. I'm sure people in the comments will tell me yes or no, whether or not I was right or wrong, but that was my experience. Got it working. full send. Next question is from Indigo Viking TLDR. He doesn't like 4K transcoding because he doesn't even have that much 4K content. I'm sure his stance would change if his entire library was in 4K and then needed to obtain even more storage to keep duplicate copy of 1080p. I wonder what his take is on it now, or if he still has a 1080p TV. Well, I stand by my statement. When it comes to transcoding 4K is an absolute waste of resources. It takes 3, 4, 5 times the resources, both on your disk and your CPU, in order to transcode, and those numbers are just completely pulled out of my ass. I have no idea if that's true, but it takes a lot more resources to transcode a 4K video down to something that you might be viewing remotely, like on your iPhone, for example. That's 2 megabits per second, or whatever you have it set to. Like, why take a 60, 80, or 100 megabit per second file and transcode it down to 2 megabits per second? It is not logical. I stand by that. No matter how beefy your server is, you're just burning resources for no reason. I have a combination of some 1080p's and one or two 4K TVs, but I have a combination of 4K and 1080 in my house. And the ones that play 4K, if I do watch 4K, it's just a direct play because it's on the same local area network. I also have a 300 terabyte server that if I wanted a 4K library, I could absolutely get one. But I just don't feel the need for it right now. But that's besides the point. My point is it's just a waste of resources. There's really no reason to do it. If you can afford the hardware to constantly transcode 4Ks or multiple 4K streams to 2 megabits or 3 megabits or whatever you might be using remotely, then you could probably afford the hardware to store a couple versions of the same movie file. Just saying. Next question is from T Wood. It's about my 3.3 pin delete on the Western Digital shuck drives. He says, does this apply to putting one of these shucked drives into a Synology NAS? Well, Mr. T Wood, no, it does not. I've tried QNAP, Synology, TerraMaster, I think is the name he said loudly. I've tried multiple different NAS solutions and they all share the same trait, and that is the SATA connection that's on the back plate. Just like a lot of servers, actually, the SATA connection that is on the back plate does not have that extra pin that tells it to power cycle, which is what you're disabling here. That 3.3 volt pin is specifically meant to just reboot the drive. So the Synology and the QNAP NASs that I have tested don't even have that activated at all. So you do not have to worry about doing that. Honestly, I think it's a really garbage thing. I'm sure it's useful in some server world. Honestly, I don't really understand it all, but I've never once had to disable that pin to use it in a Synology NAS. Next question is from Josh. I love the price, I love the lens, I love the overall resolution. This is about the G3 Mini from Unify. I love the form factor. I don't like that it's Wi-Fi only. I don't trust any kind of Wi-Fi security for any security systems. It can be easily intercepted, jammed, or otherwise interfered with. If everything was the same except for they had onboard Ethernet with PoE, I would be buying a set of 4 right now to try them. Josh, I agree to disagree to agree. Wait, that doesn't make sense. I love the G3 instance just to put them in areas where it's like, this is not crucial. Like monitoring a 3D print, for example. It's one that I use a lot. I have one at the back of the studio here. I have absolutely really no reason to keep an eye on my studio, but it's there anyway. It's just kind of like non-critical. Every critical device in my house that's recording things like the street or the back doors, front doors, that sort of thing, is all PoE and wired. Non-critical devices, to me, if it's going to be monitoring something that's just not that big of a deal, I'm completely okay with Wi-Fi. Yes, Wi-Fi can technically be hacked, but everything can be hacked, especially if you're Russian. So I'm not like living in Fort Knox and super worried about my Unify G3 cameras being hacked. Which, by the way, I made that video saying the worst thing about them is that you couldn't buy them, but then Unify just recently, because I bought 2 more, Unify got them back in stock and they allowed you to buy not 1, but 2 at the same time. Yes, I ordered 2. I mean, they're 30 bucks. Like, how can you go wrong? Next question is from Michael Blake. He said, Jason, it's like this. I like you, But how much would it cost to have you off camera and just the cat for 17 minutes? Huh. Well, surprisingly enough, the cat has not bothered me. Probably because I got crap everywhere. So that's problem number one, or I would try. Problem number two, have you ever tried to keep a cat in a single location for 17 minutes straight? Good luck. Cats do their own thing, and even when that cat actually wants to cuddle with me and allow me to pet it, it still only gives me like 5 minutes. Like I would have to literally duct tape it to this table, and that would be cruel. No. Next question is from Nicholas Plummer. Almost 1 year later, can we expect a new version of this? Maybe remove some of the platforms down to 5 to save yourself some time. This is all about the Plex client showdown. I think I did those 2 years in between them. So I don't know if I'm going to be doing one this year. Usually I wait for enough hardware upgrades before I go out and I get all of the new clients. Because let's say if you test 7 different clients and by the next year, only 2 different versions of those clients were updated, then it's like, why go through all that testing again just for 2 different clients? I'm not saying it's a terrible idea, but it is a ton of work in order to get all those testing results done. And I would prefer if I had all or most brand new clients. So I don't really foresee a 2022 Plex client showdown, but I've been wrong before. And that is the last question of the day. Like I said, guys, the $10 and $5 Patreon subscribers are going to be listed at the end of this video. So again, thank you very much for being Patreon subscribers if your name is on that list. If you want to support me, my shenanigans, and or my lawyer fees, you can use Patreon and or check out the affiliate links for NordVPN in the description down below. Okay, that was shameless. I'm sorry. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe and have yourself a great day. Now that we got that out of the way, let me tell you the little thing about RC cars. One, I don't like RC cars. They're kind of a pain in the butt. There's so many different parts. The one experience that I have, okay, 2 experience. The one real experience I have with taking this out and allowing Luna to chase this around until she claps is that it breaks every single time I take it out. Every time. If you see this, you see how everything is shiny blue? It was not shiny blue when I got it. I think the shocks were shiny blue. Every single thing in this that is blue, aside from the shocks, I have replaced with aluminum upgrades. And it still breaks. In fact, I broke a servo last time. And the wheels, she catches the RC car and then she just chews at it. Like one time she caught it, she was doing this and she threw it like 2 or 3 feet away from her, just you know, full send. So yeah, I've had a tire thing and I thought, okay, so since I've literally ripped the plastic out of the inside of the plastic tires, then maybe I would try to this time get aluminum tires. That also did not work out, because I got the wrong size aluminum tires. So then I couldn't get them to fit. So then I got spacers to allow, this is a rabbit hole and you're gonna be just as annoyed as me. I got spacers to allow the tires to come off rather than buying a new set of tires. Also, I wanted the spacers to be spacier. That way I could not flip the car as much. Guess what didn't work? You buy spacers, here's spacers, they send you spacer screws, not long enough. So I buy other spacers that are longer, and they come with longer screws. Guess what? They're too long. So no matter, it's a lose-lose-lose situation. So I'm essentially at this point where I'm just kind of like, you know, I'm gonna let all this settle. She hurt herself last time, hurt her foot, and I think she might have cut her lip because there's blood on the front there. So she hurt her foot, hurt her lip, and I need to make a better mounting system to hold the top on. That way there's no sharp objects, because she caught herself on that sharp pin, and I really don't want to hurt her. So I got to find a better solution for that, because no matter what I do, no matter what I try, she is always going to catch this. No matter what. She is fast as hell. She probably runs like 30 miles an hour. Like, she's fast. So If you guys are into RC cars and you know of an RC car that can take a beating and be chased and chewed up by a dog and at least last for maybe more than one session, I'm all ears. You know, tell me about it in the comments down below. But this is a Volcano EPX Pro by Red Cat. So that's what this is. I've heard Traxxas thrown around, but this is an impulse buy. No idea what I was doing. So that's where I'm at right now. But I can tell you one thing. She gets the best exercise chasing around an RC car. So there's a huge part of me that just wants to continue on this rabbit hole of hell because she has so much fun. Okay, that's it.